Anna and Sam's shocking escape, a turn of events that changes everything in Port Charles. The week of December 8 to 12, 2025 marks a pivotal moment in General Hospital history as two beloved characters Anna Dean and Samo make an unexpected and dramatic return to Port Charles with earth-shattering revelations that will shake the very foundations of the town and alter the lives of those they hold dear. Anna's daring escape from Pascal's prison. For weeks, Port Charles had been gripped by fear and uncertainty. Police Commissioner Anna Dean had vanished without a trace, leaving her colleagues, friends, and allies desperately searching for answers. What no one knew was that Anna was being held captive in a hidden laboratory facility operated by those with far more sinister intentions than anyone could have imagined. The facility created and maintained by Pascal and his associates was designed to be a escaper. So they believed. Anna, the seasoned WASB agent with decades of dangerous field experience, refused to be broken. Even in the darkest moments of her captivity, locked away in a sterile room with nothing but the mechanical hum of laboratory equipment and the haunting voice of someone from her past echoing through speakers. Anna's survival instincts remained sharp. She observed every detail, noted every shift in routine, and waited for her moment. "You're not taking me down without a fight," she whispered to herself in the darkness of her cell, drawing on reserves of strength that only someone with her training could summon. The opportunity came unexpectedly. A moment of carelessness from her captors, a door left unlocked, a brief lapse in attention that was all Anna needed. With the precision of a trained operative, she fought her way free from her chains and made her escape. Every step away from that nightmare, every breath of fresh air that filled her lungs was a testament to her will to survive. Anna was finally free. The impossible discovery. Sam is alive. But Anna's escape was not the only shock waiting for Port Charles. As she made her way through the compound trying to find a safe route out, Anna stumbled upon something that seemed impossible, a discovery that would rewrite the narrative of grief that had consumed the entire town for months. Sam McCall was alive. Sam, the beloved private investigator, mother, and heart of so many Port Charles families, had been presumed dead for an agonizing year. The Davis family had mourned her loss. Jason Morgan had been devastated by the tragedy. His grief a constant shadow over his days. Scout Sam's precious daughter had grown up without her mother as Drew took custody and slowly pushed the Davis family out of her life. But as Anna navigated the dark corridors of the facility, she found Sam alive in one of the laboratory rooms, weak but breathing. Sam had been subjected to experimentation, held in captivity just as Anna had been. The shock on both women's faces was profound, but there was no time for lengthy explanations or emotional breakdowns. They both understood that danger still lurked her down every corner. Anna Sam's voice was from Duze, her eyes wide with disbelief. "How did you?" "We don't have time," Anna said, extending her hand. "We need to leave now." The reunion was brief but powerful. Two strong women, both trained in survival, both determined to make it out alive. The desperate escape. What followed was a harrowing journey. Sam was weak from months of captivity and experimentation, but Anna refused to leave her behind. She supported Sam's weight as they navigated through the facility, moving as quickly as they could without drawing attention. They avoided guards, bypassed security measures, and fought when they had to. "Stay with me," Anna urged as they reached a door that led to freedom. "You're stronger than this." "I know you are." "I know," Sam replied, determination flickering in her tired eyes. "Let's get out of here." Together, they escaped into the night, leaving behind the prison that had held them captive. With the help of allies and resources Anna could access, they made their way back toward Port Charles, moving carefully and deliberately. They couldn't risk being caught again, and they couldn't announce their return too loudly, not until they understood the full scope of what was happening. The shocking return to Port Charles. When Anna and Sam finally made it back to Port Charles, their return sent immediate shock waves through the city. People who had mourned Sam for months suddenly had their entire understanding of reality shaken. Questions erupted everywhere. How was Sam alive? Where had she been? What did this mean for everyone whose lives had been upended by her supposed death? But there was no time for public celebrations or parades. Anna had information that was far too dangerous to delay sharing. She went directly to Sonny Corinthos, seeking him out at his penthouse with a sense of urgency that made it clear this was not a social call. Anna reveals the truth to Sonny. When Sonny opened the door and saw Anna standing there with Sam alive, real undeniably present, his reaction was one of stunned silence. For a moment, the powerful mob boss seemed at a loss for words. But Anna didn't wait for pleasantries or questions. She had information that could affect them all. Caesar Faison is alive. Sonny, Anna said bluntly, the words hanging in the air like a death sentence. And he's not just alive. He's conducting experiments. He's trying to achieve immortality. Sonny's face darkened, his jaw clenching as the weight of those words settled over him. Caesar Faison, I thought that threat was buried years ago. So did I? Anna replied grimly. But I heard his voice in that facility. I know what I heard. He has resources, Sonny. More resources than we thought possible. And he's not done yet, Sam added quietly. They kept us there for a reason. We were part of whatever he's building. We need to warn people. We need to act. Sonny interrupted. His mind already calculating the implications. The resurrection of Caesar Faison wasn't just a personal vendetta. It was an existential threat to Port Charles itself. A man who had terrorized the city for decades. One who refused to stay dead represented a danger that no one was prepared for. You're staying here. Sonny told Anna, his protective instinct kicking into overdrive. Under protection. We're going to figure this out, but you're not going anywhere unguarded. Anna nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation, even as her WSB training bridled slightly at being told what to do. The implications unfold as news of Sam's return and Anna's revelations began to spread through Port Charles. The implications became increasingly complex. Drew would have to answer questions about why he prevented the Davis family from seeing Sam's daughter. Families that had moved on would have to reckon with dramatic changes, and Sonny's criminal organization would have to prepare for a threat unlike any they had faced before. Anna's escape and her shocking reunion with Sam represented more than just a character returns. It was the catalyst for a new chapter in Port Charles history. One where the past refused to stay buried and where survival meant facing dangers that some had hoped were permanently in the past. The question now was simple but profound. Could Port Charles survive the resurrection of Caesar Faison? Or would this be the event that finally brings the beloved city to its knees? Next, we will learn about the shocking theory that has taken the General Hospital fandom by storm and has everyone talking about one of the most disturbing possibilities in recent Port Charles history. Fans across social media platforms are buzzing with increasingly compelling speculation that the man we've all been seeing as Kevin Collins might not actually be the beloved psychiatrist and Laura's devoted husband at all. Instead, viewers are convinced that this could be none other than his murderous twin brother, Ryan Chamberlain, somehow returned from what we all believed was his final demise. Yes, we're talking about the same Ryan Chamberlain who was supposed to be permanently gone from our screens. The same serial killer who terrorized Port Charles and left a trail of victims in his wake. The same man who was missing his hand after that gruesome encounter. And most importantly, the same Dylan who supposedly met his end when Max Scorpio delivered what was believed to be a fatal gunshot wound back in 2023. But in the world of soap operas, and particularly in Port Charles, death has become more of a revolving door than a permanent exit. The question on everyone's mind is whether Ryan managed to pull off yet another impossible escape from the clutches of mortality. When you really think about it, the speculation isn't entirely far-fetched in the General Hospital universe. We've witnessed the supposedly impossible happen time and time again. Britt Westman miraculously returned despite her terminal Huntington's disease seemingly claiming her life. Nathan West, who we mourned and grieved for, has defied all medical logic and rational explanation to make his way back to Port Charles. And let's not forget the persistent whispers that Caesar Faison, one of the show's most iconic villains, might be lurking somewhere in the shadows, possibly waiting for the perfect dramatic moment to make his presence known. If these characters can somehow cheat death after being shot, poisoned, hooked, and subjected to various other fatal circumstances, what's to stop Ryan from having orchestrated an elaborate magical sleight of hand to fake his own death once again? The peculiar behavior that Kevin has been displaying lately has only fueled these theories and given fans more ammunition for their suspicions. His entire concerned husband routine feels performative and inauthentic to those who have been paying close attention to the subtle nuances of his character. When Kevin suddenly appeared at Laura Collins' front door, she was understandably shocked, but also relieved to see her husband. She certainly wasn't anticipating his early return from his extended trip abroad. On the surface, it makes perfect practical sense that he would want to rush home and celebrate with his wife after her impressive electoral victory, securing another term as mayor of Port Charles. It's a huge accomplishment, and any devoted husband would want to be there to share in that triumph. But here's where things start to get suspicious, and the cracks in his facade begin to show. If Kevin was so eager to be with Laura during this momentous occasion, why wouldn't he have made arrangements to be present before the election even took place? Why wait until after the results were announced? Does this mean he would have simply stayed away had she lost the election? Would he have only flown home to console her in defeat rather than being there to support her through the entire stressful campaign period? The timing of his arrival raises more questions than it answers. And it doesn't align with the Kevin Collins we've come to know over the years as a supportive and attentive partner. What makes his return even more bizarre and out of character is what happened within that first hour of being back on American soil. Kevin claimed he had to rush off to see a patient, which on the surface might seem like typical doctor behavior. However, the urgency and timing of this supposed emergency patient visit doesn't quite add up when you examine it more closely. Did Kevin actually check in at General Hospital and log his arrival with the administration before he even bothered to let his own wife know he was back in the country? Or was he fabricating this patient emergency as a convenient excuse to disappear somewhere else entirely when he received that mysterious phone call? The whole scenario feels orchestrated and suspicious, almost as if he needed an alibi or a reason to maintain his distance from Laura despite having just reunited with her. The guilt that Kevin has been expressing about not being present during one of Laura's most traumatic recent experiences feels completely foreign to his established character. When Laura discovered Professor Henry Hank Dalton's lifeless body in the trunk of her car, it was undoubtedly a horrifying and deeply disturbing experience. Any spouse would naturally wish they had been there to support their partner through such an ordeal. However, Kevin's excessive guilt and self-flagellation over his absence doesn't ring true for someone with his psychological training and emotional intelligence. It's objectively not his fault that he wasn't physically present when this gruesome discovery occurred. He's never been the type of person to be overly emotional or to make tragic situations about himself rather than focusing on the actual victim or the person who needs support. The real Kevin Collins is known for being remarkably level-headed, rational, and professionally detached when necessary. There would never be any doubt in the actual Kevin's mind that Laura doesn't hold him responsible for her temporarily turning to sunny Corinthos for comfort and protection during that vulnerable period. Kevin understands human psychology too well to internalize blame for circumstances beyond his control. He would be completely focused on consoling his wife, helping her process the trauma and ensuring she receives whatever support she needs. He certainly wouldn't be diverting attention toward his own feelings of inadequacy or guilt. But you know who would behave exactly this way? Ryan Chamberlain. Ryan has always been manipulative, self-centered, and skilled at performing emotional displays that serve his own purposes while seeming genuine on the surface. Then there's the perplexing mystery of the enigmatic sea that has been hanging over several storylines like an ominous cloud. Remember when Britt Westbend first made her shocking return to Port Charles and found herself temporarily residing in Jason Morgan's old room above Kelly's diner? Someone left her a package containing specialized medical injections as a rather unusual housewarming gift. The package came with a note that essentially warned her not to forget to take her medicine. Maintaining her treatment regimen, the mysterious benefactor signed the accompanying card with nothing more than a single letter, C. This cryptic signature has sparked endless speculation and theories among fans trying to identify the sender. For a considerable period, many viewers theorized that the C could potentially stand for Caesar, as in Caesar Faison. Given Faison's history with both the Westbourne family and various Port Charles residents, plus his penchant for orchestrating elaborate schemes from the shadows, it seemed like a plausible explanation. However, that theory also feels somewhat predictable and perhaps too obvious for the show's writers. It might be exactly what they want us to think while the real answer is hiding in plain sight. Other astute fans have proposed that C could represent Cyrus Renaud, another villainous character with connections to multiple Port Charles storylines. Yet, based on recent developments, it appears that Cyrus is currently relegated to making brief appearances exclusively in Laura's nightmares and subconscious fears rather than actively operating in the physical world of Port Charles. But what if we've all been looking at this mystery from the wrong angle entirely? What if C doesn't stand for Caesar or Cyrus at all? Consider this possibility. C could very well represent Chamberlain as in Ryan Chamberlain. Think about how perfectly this would tie together multiple storylines that have seemed disconnected until now. Ryan would have both the motivation and the twisted sense of humor to send Britt those injections. He's always enjoyed playing puppet master and inserting himself into situations where he can maintain control while remaining hidden. If Ryan is indeed alive and masquerading as Kevin, having access to medical supplies and knowing about Britt's condition would be entirely within his capabilities given his twin brother's profession and connections. The more you examine all these suspicious elements together rather than as isolated incidents, the more compelling the theory becomes that Ryan has once again successfully deceived everyone in Port Charles. His ability to impersonate Kevin is well documented from previous storylines, and he's demonstrated time and again that he's willing to go to extraordinary lengths to achieve his goals. The question isn't whether Ryan is capable of pulling off such an elaborate deception. We know he absolutely is. The real question is what his endgame might be this time and how long he can maintain this charade before someone discovers the truth. What makes this theory even more chilling is considering what might have happened to the real Kevin Collins if Ryan is indeed the one we've been seeing. Is Kevin being held captive somewhere? Has Ryan done something far more permanent to his twin brother? These dark possibilities add another layer of urgency to uncovering the truth before Ryan can cause more damage to Laura and everyone else in Port Charles. Next, we will learn about the explosive rumors circulating around Port Charles that could completely shake up the dynamics of some of our most beloved characters. The whispers in the hallways and the speculation buzzing through social media have reached a fever pitch. And what we're hearing could change everything we thought we knew about the relationships in this iconic town. The latest General Hospital spoilers have set the rumor mill ablaze with talk of an unexpected and potentially catastrophic romantic connection that nobody saw coming. Sources close to the show are suggesting that Carly Corinthos, the powerhouse businesswoman and former mob wife who has been through countless relationships and dramatic entanglements, might be heading toward a shocking hookup with none other than Valton Casadini. That's right, the infamous Casadini, who has just made his way back to Port Charles, is apparently catching Carly's eye. And the implications of this potential pairing are absolutely mind-blowing. For those who have been following the show closely, you know that Valentine Casadini is not just any ordinary character walking the streets of Port Charles. He's a man with a complicated history, a dark past filled with deception, manipulation, and questionable moral choices that have left many residents of the town wary of his presence. His return to Port Charles has already stirred up old wounds and reopened painful chapters for several characters. But now it seems his presence might create an entirely new set of problems that nobody anticipated. Carly Corinthos, on the other hand, has never been one to shy away from complicated men or dangerous situations. Throughout her years in Port Charles, she's been involved with some of the most powerful and controversial figures in town. From her tumultuous relationship with Sunny Corinthos to her various other romantic entanglements that have kept viewers on the edge of their seats. But this potential connection with Valentine would take things to an entirely different level, opening up a Pandora's box of drama that could ripple through multiple families and relationships. The most shocking aspect of this rumored romance isn't just the pairing itself, but the cascading consequences that would inevitably follow. Insiders are reporting that if Carly does indeed pursue a relationship with Valentine, it could trigger one of the most explosive custody battles Port Charles has ever seen. Sonny Corinthos, Carly's ex-husband and the powerful mob boss who still maintains strong feelings about who enters his children's lives, would absolutely not stand idly by while Valentine gets close to their daughter Donna. According to these spoilers, there's serious speculation that Sonny would take drastic legal action, potentially filing for complete custody of Donna to keep her away from Valentine's influence. This wouldn't be out of character for Sonny at all. We've seen time and time again how protective he is of his children. And his history with Valentine is fraught with tension, mistrust, and outright hostility. Sonny has made it crystal clear on numerous occasions that he doesn't want any of his loved ones anywhere near Valentine Casadini, viewing him as a dangerous and untrustworthy individual who brings nothing but chaos wherever he goes. The custody battle angle adds another layer of intense drama to this already explosive situation. Imagine the courtroom scenes, the testimonies, the evidence being presented about Valentine's past misdeeds and questionable choices. Picture Sonny's lawyers painting a vivid picture of why Donna would be in danger if she's exposed to Valentine through Carly's relationship. The emotional turmoil, the family divisions, and the public spectacle of it all would provide